What's up guys, let's get straight into loadouts. The tried and true Well Lock and Bubble Titan are both really good throughout this run. I'd bring both just to be safe, but I can see it being doable with just one that knows the run really well. I've seen Invis Hunter and Stasis Lock make a couple sections easier than they would have been otherwise, but I think you can get away with just about anything here since your equipment isn't locked. Speaking of equipment, I was mostly swapping between two builds. The first was Shotgun or Sniper with Vex and Half-Truths for all the non-boss encounter sections. Monarch is also really good here. The Catapult section is the only place where Overloads are present, so I brought a bow to swap to there. And barrier champions are only in the boss encounters, which brings us to the second build, Shotgun Shadow Price Gjallarhorn. Only one person needs to be running G-Horn in this setup, the other two are running a rocket launcher with the Lasting Impression perk. The idea here is Pack Hunter gives Wolfpack rounds to the rest of the team and everyone is shooting rockets that do more damage and split into Seeking Cluster Missiles. I've also heard of people having a lot of success with Divinity Double Arbalest, but have yet to try it myself. Additionally, on Titan, I'd swap my Lion Rampant out for Helm of Saint 14. On Warlock, I stayed on Stag the entire run. Phoenix Protocol is mostly for super generation, which we won't be worrying about very often. More on that right now as we get into the run. This first section introduces you to the first mechanic of the run, kill mobs, loot engrams, deposit into crystal. The engrams give you a stack of Burden by Riches, 10 stacks gives you your super and all your abilities, running out of time on the buff kills you. Standing next to the crystal drains 2 stacks at a time and eventually it opens up the way forward inside the cave. Then there's mobs in caves, and a side note, Randall the Vandal over here is for the G-Horn Catalyst, he doesn't die. Next, we have the puzzle room. Open the door to the right first, and inside is a panel that opens the main entrance. The next panel you're looking for is underneath the trapdoors on the right. This opens the vents at the top of the main area. The TLDR of this section is, there's a panel in this room that opens the opposite door that contains the exit. To open this door, we need to make it to the far left door. This is going to be the first instance of sword skating coming in handy, so let me break down what's happening here. You're going to jump, swap to sword, attack, swap off sword, jump to fixed trajectory, and glide backwards as you're coming in for a landing so you don't make Guardian pancakes on the wall. The normal way to do this room is to activate switches to create a path. This is the short version. Once you're through that, you're going to be introduced to the Scorch Cannon mechanic that will be ubiquitous with the rest of the dungeon. The platform on the right has a panel to interact with that opens a door that has a panel that opens a door until a door containing a Scorch Cannon mob opens. Take the Scorch Cannon and shoot the generator next to the exit. Next up is the first boss encounter with the Ogre. This is going to be the first instance of barrier champions. There are also Arknights in this encounter. A Scorch Cannon mob spawns on the far center platform. You take it and shoot the generator above an entrance with it. Only one entrance can be open at a time. The mobs inside drop engrams that you feed to the crystal at the front of the platform. If there's no difference between difficulties, it takes 25 engrams to take down the boss's shield. As a reminder, collecting 10 engrams will give you back your super, and to that end, I recommend designating one person to focus on looting the engrams. Doing so means they'll get their super back, and you won't have multiple people worrying about their own countdowns. If you're feeling ambitious, you can switch off who's gathering the engrams so you get more than one super back between damage phases. This is one of the sections where it's really nice to have an Invis Hunter. The crystal will glow red and make a shattering sound when the DPS phase is about to start. Group up around the crystal for well or bubble. If you have both, save one if possible. They're really good to have for clearing out the engram mobs, and if you get unlucky, the Ogre can shut down a well in a fraction of a second. Placing the well behind the crystal can do a lot to prevent this. Rinse, wash, and repeat until dead. After the Ogre, you'll be racing against the clock to disable 4 mines. There are red buttons scattered across the course that extend the timer. The easiest way to do this is to have someone with the always on time Sparrow go for the mines while everyone else stays back and clears off buttons to be used when needed. If you don't have always on time, bring out something with a tiny hitbox. Not jumping off your Sparrow when you disable a mine will result in death a majority of the time. If you take damage but don't die, don't hesitate to refresh your Sparrow by summoning a new one. There's a hidden chest in the other eye. The intended way to move around this section is get a Scorch Cannon, align the launcher, and shoot the generator to power it. But we're going to do it the fun way. Remember, run, jump, swap to sword, attack, swap off sword, jump as needed to correct trajectory. For best results, start from high ground. You can also use the vantage point to figure out which platform is your destination. It'll be the one with a shielded servitor on it. Side note, this is the only section in the run that has overloads, and the servitors have void shields. Once you get the hang of this skating technique, the most difficult part is the landing. The way fall damage works in Destiny is, it's not the fall that kills you, it's the impact velocity. Essentially, if you hit any map geometry before you've readjusted your speed by gliding backwards, you're gonna die to horizontal fall damage. So try to land on open ground, not like this. Once you reach a platform with a shielded servitor, mobs spawn that drop engrams to power the crystal in the center of the platform that removes the servitor's shield. You incapacitate the servitor, roll it to the launcher, and launch it into the structure in the middle to damage the fallen shield. If you accidentally roll the servitor off the platform, it's gone and you'll have to do this 5 times instead of 4, so roll with caution. There will be times when the platform you need to get to has too much elevation for skating to be the play. You can charge your Scorch Cannon shots, by the way. You can also utilize Eager Edge to skip a few steps in the way you move around the map. Pro tip here, swapping off the sword is what maintains your velocity. The lunge is an animation, and swapping weapons mid-lunge is cancelling the animation in a way that instead perpetuates it. This means that keeping your sword out and letting the animation finish will send you a much shorter distance in a much safer way. Repeat this process until the fallen shield is gone, then proceed to the center platform to launch yourself into the ship. Keep in mind that even once a crystal is fully charged, you'll still want to deposit your riches to avoid dying to the timer. If someone doesn't make it up, it's faster to have the people that did make it start the boss encounter and wipe to start everyone from the boss checkpoint. Now we arrive at the final boss encounter. There's barrier champions here, and 2 powerful mini-bosses on the center platform that respawn once a damage phase is over. One of them is a sniper shank that is capable of one-shotting you. Have 60 resilience or sniper or arc resist on your chest to avoid that. If you're on Titan, these top platforms are your best friend. With max resilience, you can barricade off cooldown to entirely shut down a sightline, and I never saw the mobs do enough damage to take it down. This will help you take control of one platform without wasting time killing mobs that respawn anyway, and enable you to focus on priority targets. You'll want the mini-bosses on the central platform down before you start depositing engrams. The Invisible Vandal drops 10 of them. As a reminder, 10 engrams will recharge your super and abilities. Try to use the crystal to break line of sight with the boss when depositing. He does a lot of damage. Outside of that, you obtain engrams by getting a Scorch Cannon and shooting a generator on the side of the middle arch on the center platform. Side note, when you have guaranteed cover, you can shoot at the boss to pull aggro away from teammates that are exposed. There's one generator on each side of the arch, only one of them is active at a time, and which one is active alternates. You can tell which one is active without wasting Scorch Cannon ammo with a visual indication. It takes 60 engrams to power the crystal and begin the damage phase. 10 engrams drop on each platform in the area for a total of 30. If mobs spawn while you're gathering engrams, it's better to dip out with what you do have rather than dying for the ones you don't and depositing nothing as a result. This does mean that with proper execution, you only need to power a generator twice before the shield goes down. However, with how fast the engrams start exploding, it's ideal to assign each member of your team to a single platform that they're responsible for gathering the engrams on. Once the damage phase starts, group up at the crystal for well and or bubble and unload. Real talk, a sniper would have been better here. He doesn't move much while he's vulnerable, and getting in shotgun range can get you killed. It's also super useful to bring the Scorch Cannon to the center with you. When a damage phase ends, get off the center platform as soon as possible. A couple side notes, the Scorch Cannon chunks the center platform mini-bosses. The arch the generators are on is the fastest way to get across the map. And if a barrier servitor spawns on the lower middle platform, you can trick them into killing themselves in the water. Otherwise, repeat the process until the boss is dead, and that is Master Grasp of Avarice. Good luck in there, subscribe for more Destiny 2 content, and have a good one.